Welcome back to another video, my friends. Today we're going to be talking about the Shure SM7b versus the MacBook Pro mic. So we're going to hear a test between the two mics, and then I'm going to show you how I set up the settings for this mic, the EQ and dynamic settings, to make it a little bit more broadcast ready. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off this mic and listen to the MacBook Pro so as we can hear what it sounds like. This is the new version of MacBook Pro, you know, with the M2 one. So we'll hear the mic, okay? So here's the MacBook Pro mic now. You can hear it. It's a very good quality mic. Those two microphones now are almost identical levels. They're metering at almost the identical level. I'll move a little bit closer to the MacBook Pro mic to remove some of the room sound. Okay, so this is what the MacBook Pro mic sounds like when you're a little bit closer to the mic, maybe where you'd be in a normal seating position from the mic. It's quite good. She sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pepper. Okay, it's quite good. So I'm going to go back now to where I am. And I'm going to turn off the MacBook Pro and turn on the Shure SM7b. So we should hear that there's quite a large difference there. Might also be able to hear a fly in the background. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and look at the settings for how I set this on the RME Fireface. So what I'm using here is I'm using the RME Fireface UCX, which has built-in DSP sounds, and we're just going to look at some of those sounds and what I did to set it up. Hopefully I won't take too long. Okay, so the first thing that I did was you can open up this little spanner icon. Actually, the first thing I may now show you is that if you have this sound card, there is something you can do. Sorry, I'm struggling here because I'm not there it is. You can turn on the EQ for it so it'll be recorded. All right, it's useful in the Fireface. Okay, so we'll go back in and we'll just look at the settings. There's nothing marvelous here or anything. I haven't done anything incredible, but we'll just see. So the first thing first is the 48 volts. I need that going out the cable. This is a dynamic mic. I do have a Cloudlifter clone. It's kind of, but it's one of those ones that you stick on the USB cable that come from home, and it's pretty cheap, and it lifts the signal that comes off the Shure SM7, which can be quite low. So I have it set up. It's not driving too hard because it adds noise, and I don't think it sounds very nice. On the EQ, all I'm doing is I'm putting a bit of a low cut on. We could low cut frequencies up to about 60, 70 EQ because it's only dialogue that's going in here, and there's going to be none on it. One of the things that you could do is you could maybe boost it a little bit around the fundamental, not too much. I don't like boosting it too much because I already have a pretty heavy voice. Another thing we could do around the middle is we could kind of cut. So what I could do is I could boost it, and then what I would do is narrow it and move it around and see where it starts to sound a bit, the most annoying. And wherever it's kind of the most annoying, maybe there is kind of annoying, or wherever you find it the bit most annoying, what you can do then is you can kind of remove it. So you can just go in and you can kind of pull it down a little bit, and that might get rid of some of the resonances that are in the room. The last thing you might want to do is, all you have is a 3-band EQ. So what you could do is you could just brighten it up a little bit, and you can see that I'm taking it from quite low down. So if we look here, you can see that I'm actually taking it from 2 kilohertz, and I'm just rolling it up because it's such a small amount. I'm not going to put it up a huge amount. I'm just subtle little changes. I'm just trying to change the EQ curve a little bit to compensate for the room. The mic is already good, so I'm just kind of adjusting it a little bit for the dynamic, for my voice and for the room, but not too much. Tiny bits. It's already a good mic. So next, what I'll do is I'll move on to the dynamics. In the dynamics, there's 2 sections. There's an auto loud section, auto level section. So we'll turn that on first, and that'll just automatically boost your level to a more broadcast ready level. And then there is a further compression level. So I'll very quickly explain the compression level because there are some small settings that we can do in it. Hydro homie. So what I'll do is I'll just reset it for now, and I'll turn off the auto level so we can hear it without it. Okay, now there are 2 settings. There's the compression level and the expansion level. So the compression is the red part and the expansion is the green part, and my voice is represented by, level of it is represented by this dot. So if I speak very quietly, it's down low. And if I speak very loud, it's up high. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to set our compression point where it's going to start working. So if I have it up here, there's no compression, even if I was to have a lot, because there's no level up there. So I'm going to bring it down to basically where I'm kind of comfortable speaking. And we can kind of see that it's mostly, it's just kind of hovering around the center point. It's a little bit below, a little bit above, and that's kind of where I want it to be. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a bit of a ratio. I would recommend, somewhere around 2, 3 is enough. And you can hear it already there that it's having an effect. It's kind of just tidying up the dialogue a little bit, making it not as jumpy. So I'll turn it off. There it is with it off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And there it is with it on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And it just kind of cleans it up a little bit. So these work in connection with each other. Okay, so you could turn it up a little bit because you are actually after turning it down. Now, the next thing that you might want to do is the expansion here. So the compression will reduce the loud sounds to bring them in more in line with the medium sounds. And what the expansion will do is it'll reduce the quiet sounds. So if I stop speaking for a minute, you might hear that there's some noise. If you've got headphones, you might. Okay. And so what I could do is, normally that's fine, but what I could do is I could bring this expansion up to a point and then reduce the noise. And so when the level goes down to this green part now, it's going to get turned down by this much. So it basically disappears. So you can hear that it's kind of popping in and out. So my dialogue now is quite clean, but it's also a little bit kind of it cuts in and out. If you're okay with that, you're okay with that. You could move the expansion point down, or what you could do is you could have the expansion point up, and you could make it a kind of a more smooth curve. So it'll kind of, it will cut off, but it'll give you this little kind of cut ramp first. So it's a little bit smoother. And then lastly but not least, you could put on the auto level and it'll give it another lift. Normally what you would do is you'd put on the auto level first and then you would put on the dynamics, because that way you might not have to adjust your gain so much. Okay, so I think now that we're at pretty good sounding, I think it sounds pretty good. Go in and listen to the EQ. So normally I put on the auto level before we put on the EQ before, but then it's harder to hear the EQ settings. So I just wanted to be a little bit more subtle with it and let you hear what it sounds like. Okay, my friends, that's it for the Shure SM7. So just to round out the video, what I'll do is we'll go in and we'll listen to the MacBook Pro again. We listen to the Shure SM7b unprocessed, and then we listen to it processed, and you can judge for yourself. Okay, my friends? Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I normally say these to test for sibilants. She sells seashells by the seashore. And I say this to test for plosives. Peter Piper picked a pepper. Okay, so that's what the MacBook Pro microphone sounds like. So what I'll do now is I will turn off all of the settings on the Shure, and then we'll go back and we'll listen to the Shure. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the unprocessed. So this is the unprocessed Shure SM7b coming into the mic, coming into the RME. Well, it does have that little lifter on it, which gives it a bit of a boost. It does genuinely help. And now I'll start to put it on one at a time. I'll put on the EQ, so we can hear that it doesn't have a huge difference. We put on the low cut, and we can hear that I'm not really trying to change it. Like I say, it's already a good sounding mic, so I'm just trying to compensate for the room in my voice a little bit. We put on some of the dynamics, so again, we hopefully don't hear a huge difference, but each little step is improving a little bit. And then we put on the auto level, and now again, we shouldn't hear probably the most difference here, because I don't have as much control here really. But now we should have a very loud, clear signal. But the funny thing is that it's metering the exact same as the MacBook Pro. So if I go back to the MacBook Pro now, this is coming in at the exact same level as the SM7b. No difference. But I think you'd agree that the SM7b sounds significantly louder, more processed. Okay, my friends, so that's it. Just to, I thought that some of you might be interested in hearing the difference between the Shure SM7b and the MacBook Pro mic, and maybe if some of you, you want a little broadcast, you can see that even with cheap EQ and compression, you can do this. So even with onboard. Okay, my friends, that's it for this video. I hope it was some use. If it was, like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. Okay, my friends, thank you very much. Bye, 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 bye.